The Problem of Duality. Is There an Objective Universe? By J Van Der Leeuw, read by Dave Marsland of Cardiff Theosophical Society. The Problem of Duality. Is there an objective universe? Most of the theories offering a solution for the problem of duality in our universe unhesitatingly accept the problem as it stands and apply their intellectual powers to solve the difficulty which is presented to it. They but too often neglect first to analyse the problem itself, the question is propounded, and to see whether the problem is correctly formulated. Let us then first analyse the duality which seems so evident to us, and see how we come to conclude that there is indeed an objective universe, a world of matter without and a world of spirit or life within. The universe appearing around us is the image produced in our consciousness by ultimate reality. When we dissociate this world image from the consciousness which produced it, when we externalize it and make of it an objective outside world, entirely apart from our consciousness, we create a gulf which separates our objectivated world image from the consciousness that produced it, and in that separation we produce the problem of the relation of two apparently separate things: the material universe around us and our consciousness within. That apparent duality then becomes the basis of our dual universe, and on that basis are erected the different questions and answers concerning it. But in philosophy, we have no right to accept as sacrosanct any problem which our intellect or our daily experience imposes on us. On the contrary, it is our duty first to analyse and study the problem and see whether or not error and illusion have crept into the problem itself. We do but compromise ourselves when we attempt to answer a problem which has in it the element of error. We must first purify it of that error, and then we may find it possible to approach reality. In our interpretation of reality, our world image, we undoubtedly experience a self within and a world of not self without. This experience is real enough for us, but to assign to the absolute a self which posits a not self opposite to itself is to transfer the illusions of our world image consciousness into our philosophical investigation. In the absolute, in ultimate reality, there is no such thing as a universal abstract self. Neither is there a universal not self. Self and not self are concepts which have no place in the world of reality. They are experiences of the individual creature in the world of the relative. To transfer them from that world of relativity into the world of the absolute is a philosophical heresy. Neither can we look upon the two, universal self and universal not self, as two main divisions, to one or other of which all things belong. We shall see presently that there is nothing which is either self or not self in itself. Things but appear as self or not self to us. Self and not self are experiences relative to ourselves and of value only with relation to the consciousness which experiences them. We may assign a self-not-self construction to the consciousness which informs a universe, the consciousness of a solar deity or logos. There we are still in the world of the relative. To transfer them, however, or rather attempt to transfer them into the world of reality, into the world of the absolute, is impossible. They have no place there. They are flowers of illusion which cannot live in the world of reality. When we speak of a universal self, we do not speak of an ultimate reality, but of an abstract idea which we ourselves distill from our daily experience. Thus, the first ghost to be laid is that of the antithesis of self and not self, of an objective universe without and a world of consciousness within. These are but concepts born of illusion, and in our approach to reality we must overcome them first. It is of interest to see how in modern physics the problem of duality has been overcome. The problem here concerns the conception of mass or matter on the one side and of force or energy on the other. Here too there have been attempts at reconciliation which try to solve the duality by reducing one of the two terms to but a form of the other. Thus, on the one hand, we find the idea of force reduced to that of mass. Hertz saying definitely that what we denote by the names of force and energy is nothing more than the action of mass or motion. On the other hand, we find the atoms explained, as for instance by Boscovich, as being but centres of energy, thus reducing all mass or matter to a form of energy or force. Lately, however, the old and time-honoured antithesis of matter and energy has been questioned, and the two are shown to be convertible one into the other. Inertia, hitherto the outstanding characteristic of mass, is seen to be possessed also by energy, the inertia for very high velocities being found to vary with the velocity. Modern physics thus recognises a mass of pure electromagnetic origin, varying with the velocity. Again, the breaking up of the atom releases energy, and one of the possibilities of modern physics is the liberation of that energy appearing to us as matter, in which liberation that same matter ceases to exist as before. We may safely say that the new physics is thus transcending the old problem of the duality between matter and energy, not by reducing one to a function of the other, but by showing that they are mutually convertible. Superficially, it may seem strange that science, which deals with the world of phenomena, should be able to overcome the problem of duality, or at least to recognise that the duality, so sharply defined in classical physics, is a fiction. But then we must not forget that modern physics is able to transcend its previous limitations by virtue of the new mathematics which it uses in its calculations, and that in these new mathematics, as well as in the theory of relativity based on them, the illusion which would make absolute that which is relative has been overcome. We must then cease to be fascinated by the problem of duality, either in its scientific or its philosophical presentation, but laying aside the questions born of illusion, approach that reality where the questions are superseded in the experience of things as they are.